There's also a yellow snow ice warning in place until 11 tomorrow morning for Donegal, Leitrim, Mayo, Sligo and Wicklow. Lowest temperatures of -1 to +3 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then.
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should there be an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Now then, a busy football show coming up for you. Enda Stevens and Dave McGoldrick are doing it for the Republic of Ireland national side, but they're also taking along as club mates for Sheffield United. They're going to join us. Well, they did join us already, so they're on the way. We'll play that, both in good form. And then Rob Daly is going to join us. The Spurs stadium tour seemed to happen today. Lots of journalists were there. So Miguel Delaney tweeting about it and a few others. So Rob Daly was one of the journalists there. He got to see the new stadium and all the many background things. It's basically
amazing.
It's just a hotel as well, apparently.
Yeah. All these stadiums, like, are they just getting too good? You know.
Go on.
Well, I don't know. You were at the World Cup in Brazil, right? Were you at some of the Euros in France? I think you were at the Euros in France, right? And I've been to a few of these tournaments, and it's great. Not complaining. It's a major tournament. Brilliant atmospheres, great experience.
Sure.
But a lot of the venues are just becoming very samey, A lot of the stadiums, like, you remember a lot of the matches, but you can't necessarily remember the venue. You can't remember, you think of Houghton's header in Stuttgart, say, or even okay, I know the Giant Stadium was a big modern stadium that got knocked for another one. But even, like, you think of, if you watch Premier League years now or something like that, or watch any old sort of nostalgic show, you'll see a ground, you'll see the Dell, and you're like, that's the Dell, that's Southampton. You'll see the old plastic pitch at Luton, or you'll see some shape or some venue, that the old Highbury, Highbury, and there's a certain White Hart Lane, and maybe it's camera angles and stuff.
Yeah.
And now, like, just a lot of I was in St Mary's a couple of weeks ago, Southampton, and it was just, it was nice. It was very modern. Everything worked. But there was no character to the stadium.
It's dead, was it?
A lot of these World Cup stadiums, it's a bit like that, where they're all the same. They're the same bowl shape. It's very well put together. We have Lansdowne Road, the Aviva, plenty of character there because it's only 3/4, finished. And then we have the other end. But a lot of these stadiums, so I see, apparently the Spurs stadium is stunning. I'm sure it is. We'll speak to Rob about it and find out what makes it so stunning. But I'm just not really that wowed by an amazing stadium.
No, it's a very fair point. They are becoming a bit homogenised. Like, I do wonder if you were to swap the colour of the seats at the Emirates and the Etihad Stadium, would many of us at first glance notice that something very different had gone on here? Something's wrong here. They're similar-ish bowly types. They're what you're talking. They are the model of the bowl stadiums.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and
vast.
The
Spurs stadium, by the way, looks like the stands are very steep. I suppose St James's Park is very steep, and a few others, which is in a bid to keep fans close to the action, and the acoustics will be good. You think of the Olympic Stadium is the worst example.
The old length distance from the pitch. I will qualify this. I'm judging this having not read or looked at a single thing about the Spurs stadium. So I'm waiting to be wowed when Rob comes on and tells us, no, why this is better than the other new ones. And I saw Miguel going on about it, and I'm sure it sounds like internally. I think it's the internal facility, as in for players, for dressing rooms. Advances in that area are just brilliant, but just sometimes the stadiums, the outward presentation. Even Wembley now. I've been in the new Wembley on several occasions. It doesn't do a huge amount for me, I have to say. It's you look at the old Wembley and you're like, that looks magic.
It's different, yeah.
And you do lose something. That's just maybe overly nostalgic and get on with it. But I suppose in 20 years' time, the Premier League matchgoer won't have known. The young Premier League matchgoer won't have known anything else but this pristine, clean bowl effect stadium, and I know there's debates about bringing in sort of safe standing and doing other things to bring some atmosphere to grounds, and there's a danger the Spurs will make them loads of money, but will they be happy?
Old Trafford and Anfield are going to retain a bit of character. You know, they're very distinctive. Although the camera angle change at Anfield took some real getting used to.
That did, but but the venue itself and
it's still Anfield.
So I've been to Goodison Park. You know, I haven't been to a huge amount of the Premier League grounds, but I've got to a couple in the last couple of years, and Goodison Park was great.
Yeah.
You know, but it's from an Everton perspective, from an accountant's perspective, it's decrepit and it's holding them back, and they could be making more money off a bigger venue. I get it, but there is some character that needs to be kept, or else it's just
same stadium everywhere.
Yeah.
So let's check in on the two games on this evening. About 70 minutes on the clock. Wolves against Manchester United. Clive Edwards here.
Wolves 1, Man United 1. Both goals scored in the first half, but United will have to play most of their second half with just 10 men. Their captain, Ashley Young, red carded. 2 yellow card offences, the second one coming just after 10 minutes of the start of the second half. A foul on Diego Jota. So United down to 10 men. Wolves 1, Man United 1.
Yeah, and they'll need 3 points really. Manchester United right in the mix for this top 4 spot. As things stand, Arsenal are on 63 points. With this game, Manchester United are playing, which puts them one ahead of everybody else around them. They're on 62 points and in 4th spot. Spurs are on 61 with a game in hand on United, and Chelsea are on 60 with a game in hand on United. So they're at that point in the season where 3 points is almost required if they're going to sneak into the top 4 positions.
Did you get the landmark tonight, Joe?
I did. Mike Dean's
100th red card.
Red card,
He's hit the century.
I presume that's him top of the tree, is it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, I can't recall anyone else hitting 100. If someone can, I can't imagine David Ellery sent off for 100 in his time. Sent off Roy Keane on a couple of occasions. Jeff Winter in the voice. Mike Dean is always so expressive. I actually, in saying that Mike Dean's 100 red cards been a thing, I was struggling. Maybe I don't have a great recall of referees, some of the referees' highlights. I can't remember too many Mike Dean red card highlights from over the years. I do remember the one where he celebrated a counter-attack that he was responsible for when the team scored. That was one of the great Mike Dean moments. You know, he played a good advantage and he enjoyed the goal. And he also, I think, told one of the players, "Off you pop." He was caught mouthing on camera, "Off you pop," as he dished out the red card. I think it was it Brighton? It might have been Lewis Dunk at Brighton.
Yeah.
And that was a more recent one, but I can't remember the first one, I have to say, but it goes back. It'd be a good Premier League 100 show on Sky.
Yeah.
It's the 100 red cards.
It's shown worse. I don't think he's the most popular with the players, Mike Dean. Maybe it's just me. I'm someone who takes no notice of referees.
I wouldn't be
Zilch.
I wouldn't be big into it, but I think with him, when you're allergic to someone's idiosyncrasies, you end up noticing it a bit more. It's more in recent years. It's his expressiveness on the pitch that actually seems to wind players up, but also makes them. It makes him a magnet for some of the attention. You know,
don't get me wrong. Like Mike Dean, you'd be aware of. Mark Clattenburg was fairly unmissable, but in
some of the other names, would you pick them out of an ID line?
No, I wouldn't. Lots of people really would. Lots of people watch a game and they see who the referee is, and it's like, oh.
But do you remember the ones from your youth, though? Do you remember like with David Ellery and sort of Uriah Rennie came along?
Uriah Rennie,
was the guy.
That's
Paul.
weird, though.
Paul, the guy, Paul Alcock. Was it Paul Alcock?
Who was it that Di Canio
got pushed
shoved?
by Di Canio. I think
that was him.
Paul Alcock. And there was a guy with grey, Roger, something. There's a guy with grey. They will come back. If you saw the names, they'd mean something to you straight away.
Not that into it. So another goal then between Watford and Fulham. Andrew Cheal is here.
Watford 3, Fulham 1, game over surely. Troy Deeney the scorer, Deeney's flick, Gray's trick, drives him into the box, a low cross from the left-hand side, and Deeney made up good ground on the end of it for a simple side-foot finish. Fulham heads in hands now, knowing defeat spells relegation for them, and they trail. It's Watford 3, Fulham 1.
Just over 20 minutes to go in both those games. Before we get to Enda Stevens and David McGoldrick, Sport Ireland, John Tracy is appearing before an Oireachtas committee tomorrow. John Delaney, of course, is appearing before an Oireachtas committee, the same Oireachtas committee, next week to answer the many questions people have about business at the FAI over the last number of months and years. John Tracy is going to appear tomorrow. It seems his opening statement, and there will be questions after, but his opening statement will certainly make the point that when Sport Ireland asked the FAI for information about this €100,000 bridging loan, that, quote, the FAI did not sufficiently explain, end quote, the circumstances, which is a big statement and it's making headlines today. that will be something that you and most of us will be watching tomorrow to see the tone of what John Tracy is saying, the nature of the questioning from the Oireachtas, and I dare say John Delaney and the FAI will be watching very closely too.
I would say they'll be glued to it, yeah. I think I suppose people who have expressed concerns about this committee structure and the effectiveness of it will get to see them all in action. You know, they've got a trial run, because it is the same people this week asking the questions. They'll be the ones who'll be putting the questions to the FAI delegation led by John Delaney next week. So Sport Ireland, to a degree, can only say so much, and in Sport Ireland statements today, they also have acknowledged that some of FAI's sort of internal matters are FAI business. That's fine. Like that's their own business to a degree. But obviously, at the same time, the quotes you referenced there and strong comments to suggest that they weren't fully consulted, they weren't fully satisfied with the explanation they got about the €100,000 bridging loan in 2017, but they also weren't perhaps fully consulted or made aware of this change of management structure from the old Jonathan Hall and Associates report. So certainly, it would appear that both sides of the table tomorrow, or whatever it is, have questions to ask of the FAI, but this is going to give us an idea of what maybe to a degree what might be coming next week.
It seems as well on the 25th of March, Sport Ireland wrote to the FAI president a second time looking for further clarification on the circumstances of this loan, and they also asked for some more information surrounding the compliance with terms and conditions of grant approval. No reply came from the FAI to that second letter.
No.
Again, March 25th, what are we here, the 4th of April? I think a lot of people quite rightly... 2nd
of April,
yeah. I think a lot of people quite rightly feel that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot going on in FAI land, I guess.
Sport Ireland takes a priority.
I would have thought so, but that would be my view. But I suppose the FAI have since commissioned a subcommittee of the FAI board, have now commissioned another external review from Mazars with relation to financial matters, and the FAI have released statements to that. So it suggests that the FAI have been up to the stuff over the past 4 or 5 days, rather than sitting bone idle waiting for this to come around. But again, that detail that you mentioned would suggest that on both sides of the table tomorrow there's a bit of disquiet, although I just retain a bit of scepticism with regard to the degree to which Sport Ireland will be box office tomorrow. I think there's a fair chance that it may not be, but there will be some pointed comments perhaps that might almost build everything up towards next week's main show, if you want to pitch these things in that angle.
Still 1-1 at Molineux. Wolves 1, Manchester United 1, United down to 10 men. Oh, chance for Wolves, Messi, the ball's in the net. Is it given? Is it given? I think it's been given. Players are celebrating.
Dundonker, yeah.
Wolves 2, Manchester United 1, it looks like. Chris Smalling is the man that the camera's picking out. It was Messi, a ball put into the box, things got very messy, De Gea came out, and it was kind of bobbling around, and it somehow very slowly found the ball that is its way over the line.
Yeah, it might have come off. Yeah, Chris Smalling. By the way,
here we are.
It's been replayed here, but it was a good ball into the area, and the keeper looks like he almost got unsighted at a point. Yeah,
it's a messy goal. So the cross comes in. There's no clean header. The ball sort of trundles down. There's lots of players trying to stick their feet at the ball, and it confuses.
His way.
Yeah, it confuses De Gea. The ball sort of, without anyone touching it, goes by De Gea, and then Smalling finishes the job and puts it into the net. Really messy goal. You'd have to say from a Wolves point of view.
I'm not even sure if Smalling touches it. I think he
does at the end.
Does he? He just distracts.
When it goes by De Gea, he then knocks it in, but it was going in anyway. You'd have to say Wolves had 4 men in the box. Like, they're really attacking side.
They're going for it. And I mean, in fairness, it wasn't just that they were at 11v11. Okay, they're side Wolves that can hitch on the brakes in a very intelligent way too, but they are pushing for it. And I mean, they have a decent record against the better sides this year.
Good team.
And
really good team.
They can turn it on, when needs be.
So there we go, Ollie. Oh, is this a chance? Are United in? Quick reply. The angle's too tight and it's well defended. There we go. It's 2-1 to Wolves, 78 minutes on the clock. This is not great for Manchester United, who did take the lead in this game, by the way, as well. We'll keep you up to date with things Now, yesterday, Enda Stevens, David McGoldrick, Sheffield United very much in the hunt for promotion to the Premier League. They obviously also both featured against Georgia on Tuesday. David McGoldrick getting an unbelievable standing ovation. He was brilliant.
Man of the moment now, yeah.
Yeah, so we got the call yesterday saying the two lads were promoting FIFA 19 and they'd be available to do a little Skype chat from the training ground. So we said, OK, let's do that. So this is Enda Stevens and David McGoldrick speaking to us yesterday. So, delighted to welcome Enda Stevens and Dave McGoldrick to the show. You're there, lads?
Yeah.
Good. You're all very close, sharing headphones. I'm sure you're enjoying that. Teammates, obviously, for Ireland and Sheffield United. Do you room together for Ireland?
No. I couldn't stay with him for that long. No. We have a room to ourselves.
Yeah, fair enough. We might touch on Sheffield United briefly. A disappointing loss at the weekend, 3-2 against Bristol. Third in the Championship, 2 points off Leeds, still very much in it. How has the season gone for you both, David?
Yeah, at this point in weekend, we want to win every game towards now and the end of the season. But I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. I think 7 games to go. I think other teams are going to drop points. I think we're going to collect points. I think it's going to go right down to the wire. But we can't be disappointed. About a week, we've got Preston away on Saturday. They're fighting for playoffs, so it's going to be a tough game again. And we've got to go there. And we've just got to play with no fear and just nothing to lose, and just try to get as many points as we can to the end of the season.
And you've tasted a bit of Premier League at the beginning of your career. You had a really interesting quote about your attitude almost when you were starting off, and you said, I didn't have the hunger or determination to be a footballer at the highest level. I didn't really realise even when I was on loan, I was still kind of playing in the comfort zone. Don't get me wrong, I had great times at the likes of Doncaster, but I didn't really take it as seriously as I should have. I wasn't professional. I wasn't playing to the best of my ability. I'll put it that way. What sparked the change, or what did change for you? When did all that happen?
Just when the phone wasn't hot. When obviously I got released from Villa, the phone wasn't ringing, and not many clubs are really even knew about me or wanted to know anything about me. But it was like my last chance saloon. I went down to Portsmouth, and I knew if it didn't go well there, I didn't know where I was going to be. So I kind of had to crack down. I played under a good manager in Paul Cook, who really got me playing and really coached me into knowing how to play in the position and playing in the right manner and the right way, got me fit. And it was pretty much down to him and my attitude, which kind of sparked me career again.
It's funny you mentioned coaching. I suspect a lot of players go over and clubs over in England expect you to know your stuff, almost neglect a bit of coaching, and managers are under pressure, obviously, as we know, not least in the Championship. It's interesting, players still need to be coached even in their 20s.
Yeah, I don't think you ever stop learning the game. You play in different formations, you play under different managers, but it was a case of, if I look at Ireland now and I look at the kids these days, the coaching they're getting is probably to a lot more position specific and all that now, whereas when I was growing up it was kind of a case of just, there's a ball, go out and play.
Yeah.
But especially when you come to England, the standard's so high. It's a much bigger step up than I ever imagined, and it was disappointing that I wasn't, until I kind of came away from it, that I had to realise just how hard you have to work.
What's the biggest difference in that step up when you come over from Ireland?
In terms of the game,
in terms of the quality, where you're saying you didn't fully realise just what a big step up it is.
It's just the standard of play, the players that you're coming up against, the intensity, the pressure, everything is just it's to a different level, and you've got to be at your best to survive, and I wasn't, so that's why I didn't really survive.
Yeah, okay, well, things are certainly going well now. Let's touch on Ireland. So has McGoldrick been walking around looking for standing ovations in every room he goes into, or has that stopped?
Yeah, he probably has. He had a bit of a swagger about him when he came in towards me for training, but I know I was delighted for him. Obviously it's something that you could see meant a lot to him, and just the performance he put in, he was well worthy of that ovation. And anyway,
what an amazing moment, David. I mean, I'm sure you knew you were having a good game. It's obvious players know when they're having a good game. But I must say, when I was at the stadium and your number comes up, because clearly you were wrecked. I mean, that was the other thing. But I mean, I remember, I did think to myself, geez, I hope he gets a good response here and people realise what a good game he's had. And then suddenly standing ovation. That doesn't happen very often. What an amazing moment.
Yeah, you know, it took me by surprise as well. You know, like you say, you know, when you've been playing well, and I thought I've done quite well. You know, probably my best performance, and well, it is my best performance in the Ireland shirt. So I was happy about that, and you know, I was knackered. And then when I see my number come off, you know, I was hoping that I'd get a few claps to say the least. And then obviously the reception that I got, you know, it was a really proud moment. You know. I couldn't believe it, you know. I walked off as slow as I possibly could, you know, to gather it all in.
Asking for a bit more. Come on, keep it going.
Yeah. I think I see one person not standing up, so I wanted him to stand up. But no, you know, it was fantastic. It was a really proud moment, you know. It was a special moment in my career, and you know, I was really happy, grateful for it.
Hey, listen, you could go through the rest of your career without ever getting a reception like that very easily. So it really was, you know, an amazing one. There was a moment where you were deep in the Irish half, kind of right-hand side, and play moved up the left. It might have been you, Enda, and you sort of, you were trying hard to keep jogging up the right-hand touchline, and the cross from the left-hand side was overcooked and came to you on the far side, and I've never seen a man not want the ball as much in his life.
Yeah, I remember, Enda.
That was a pass.
Sorry, Enda picked you out of the back stick. That's what I meant to say.
Don't listen to him, he... I remember the ball came to me and I thought, oh no, here it is. I just ran the length of the pitch to come here. And I thought I was looking for the skip, I was looking for Seamus. And then I passed it to him and I said, go on you one of your crazy runs. And he passed it back to me.
That's right.
So I passed it back to him and said, no, go away. I knew I was tired, you know. I played on the Saturday as well, and that was a tough game. Tough for my body with the conditions, the 4G, and then coming into the game, playing up front of my own, you know, it was tough. So I was wrecked, like you say, when that was the time. I think it was a couple more minutes after that I came off.
You obviously have a great relationship with Mick McCarthy from Ipswich days, and he name-checked you early enough on. He's obviously been doing a lot of media over here before the games actually happen, such is the nature of things, and it must be a lovely thing to play for a manager who you feel likes you, who you feel trusts you. When you were going out on Tuesday night against Georgia, leading the line a little bit on your own, what's Mick asking of you? What's your job? Is he telling you to hold it up? Does he want you to run in behind? What are you going out there trying to do?
You know, Mick's, you know, he's never changed. I think from his time as the Ireland manager before, you know, I think you got to play some type of way. And I know that playing under Mick for nearly 6 years, I knew that he didn't say much to me before. When he named the team the day before, I played in front of my own, and I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to run in behind. I knew I had to hold the ball up, and I know I had to be a threat right at the top of the pitch. You know, I think in my game I do like to drop as well. He did say to me, don't drop as much, you know, be a focal point. And I knew that I had to run in behind, and you know, with James McLean and Robbie Brady, they had the same responsibility as well to support me and run in behind if I dropped short. So we all knew our roles going into the game, and I think that it worked really well. Yeah, no, it did. And you won the ball high up the pitch several times as a team, you know. It was like there was pressure on the Georgians, which was good. What about you, Enda? What are the kind of big things Mick is emphasising to you when you go out on Tuesday night?
He just instills confidence in every single one of us to go out there, show how good we are, and play. Like we all knew that he wanted a front foot performance. He wanted us to really press them. Didn't want us to give them time on the ball, because he respected them as players. He thought they were good, and they are good. They're a good nation, and we just wanted to make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. And I thought we did that. And I think, especially towards the end of the game, we looked tired, but I also think they were very tired as well. Yeah. And they couldn't really sustain pressure or keep forcing us back to equal us.
How is the relationship with James McLean? How's that developing?
Yeah, it's good, yeah. Obviously, it'll take time to build a good, strong football relationship. But in terms of the games that we played, Gibraltar was obviously tough because of the conditions that it was. You can't really go off that. But against Georgia, I felt like we linked up well. He got a lot of crosses in. I got a few crosses in. And there's more to come from us, hopefully.
Two nutcases.
Two nutcases. Who's going to get the first yellow was one of the great debates between Stevens and...
No, there's only one winner. James McLean would it.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, there's just an immediate sense of energy about the whole thing. The fans really, I think, appreciated the performance. It must be nice for you guys to be a part of, because you've seen, you know, the other side is... it's fairly miserable when things aren't going well and the media are on the players' backs and why aren't the performances good enough. That must be a lovely thing. Do the team get a chance to have a drink or two on Tuesday night, or is everybody scattergun straight away after full time on a flight out of there?
No, the dad had a drink in the hotel after. I think everyone, so Man United had just 1 or 2 drinks, and then obviously the next day people have early flights or late run flights, and you just have a few things, and then you say your goodbyes, and then obviously we'll say hopefully see you in the summer if you get selected, and all the best for the rest of the season. But that's been the case since I've been involved. I think that's been happening for a few years now.
It's a competitive squad. Enda, there's you and there's Seamus Coleman and there's Matt Doherty, I guess, is floating around. Potentially a guy who might be on the PFA Team of the Year. He's going so well at Wolves. You're going to be on your toes. It's a fight. You're going to have to keep playing well. I'm sure you're more than aware of that.
Yeah, that's where you play the game. I'm sure the manager wants competition for places. He wants everybody being at their best, and he wants that kind of mentality. And I think if you go through the squad, I think every single player feels like they have a chance to play. And that's only going to benefit us in the long term, because the 11 that step out on the pitch will be at it. They'll be pushing there to make the jersey their own, and that's what we need to be successful.
Yeah. The protest, obviously a strange moment. So there was a sense it might happen. It did happen. And a question you love, I'm sure, but I am genuinely curious for your thoughts as a player who came through Cherry Orchard, I think, schoolboy, but then, Rovers really put you on your way and you were Young Player of the Year at Rovers. There are many issues here being discussed when it comes to the FAI and what's going on, but one I suspect is of interest to you is the League of Ireland. One of the accusations might be that the league hasn't been developed the way you would like. It's been neglected in some ways. It's been called a problem child. And I'm sure, your sense of that, is that a fair criticism? Do you look at the League of Ireland and think it could be in a much better place?
It's a hard question because I don't know the ins and outs. I look at it as a fan, and I see the talent that's there at the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Dundalk, Cork. It's competitive. The quality of player, I think, is probably it's always sustained a level where you're thinking, oh, he can go to England. He's probably going to be the next one down to England. I look at Shamrock Rovers and the way they're doing their academy setup and their training ground. I'm not seeing like what Cork and Dundalk have, but I think it's the strongest it's looked for a while. But I still obviously do think there's a massive room for improvement in terms of other clubs.
Because there's no reason the league here, obviously people follow English football, of course they do, and they're going to be watching Sky Sports on a Sunday. But I mean, in a football mad country, there is absolutely no reason why we couldn't have a very vibrant and healthy league here. People say, oh, it's not possible, but it really is, it strikes me.
Yeah, definitely. But I think you got to improve attendances as well. I look at Bohemians, they're selling now. I think Shamrock Rovers probably should be selling more tickets. I don't know what Cork probably sell out. Dundalk probably sell out, but it's attendances as well. We need people to go to the games so a club can sustain a level of income, and you don't have like what's happened to Bray or the other clubs over the years. You don't have that because there is good players on show, there is good football being played, and it's just a case of backing your club and going out and supporting them.
I'm being told, so you guys have you're here with EA Sports FIFA 19. Available PS4, Xbox, all platforms. I'm being told we have your FIFA ratings. Oh, there they are. So who comes out to 71-70? That's tight. Enda, thoughts?
I'm fuming.
That's a disgrace.
I think so as well. I'm with you on that. I think I'm miles off it.
David Myler was in the papers yesterday. Like he seems like he is the real deal, and he's almost going to be potentially like a full-time e-gamer. I'm not big on all this stuff, I have to be honest.
I think he's
when he retires. Have you played Myler at FIFA down the years?
No. Someone has, hasn't there? Someone beat him.
Johnny Egan.
No, not Johnny Egan.
Yeah, Egan's beat him.
Page beat him as well.
He's lost a good few games. Yeah, he's not untouchable.
Okay, because the way it reads is he's literally untouchable. He's like world class.
I think it's the pro clubs. I think he has the best team on the thing, but I don't know about just a normal game.
Normal one-on-one game, I think Johnny Egan's beaten, H has beaten. I think Brownie's beat him a few times. Like he's lost a good few.
All right, well that changes everything. That's an absolute game changer. I thought this guy was literally unbeatable. Sorry, a question actually before we go. Not to finish on a negative, but it was one I wanted to ask, or maybe David, you might want to put it right. There was a sense over here, you got your debut in 2014. I know there were injuries, but you look at the performance on Tuesday and you think, well, this guy should have more than 7 caps for Ireland. There were, rumours or reports of a bit of a falling out with Martin O'Neill. You were left out of the Moldova squad, I think. Can you talk about that? Was there a bit of a falling out, or what was the reason that you're kind of only here with 7 caps? It's not like Ireland were scoring a ton of goals over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I heard that rumour, and I got asked that when I first met up the other week, and, at club level, at international level, you're going to have disagreements with the manager about not playing. I know I was left out, and I spoke to him before one of the games, and he told me he was leaving me out, and, I wasn't happy. But there was no falling out, there was no nothing, we were all on good terms. And then that was it. I didn't get picked, and I've had some injuries, but it's contrast, because I remember my last game for Ireland was against Mexico, and I think I probably made about 2 successful passes and hardly touched the ball. So on that viewing, you can see why I can get picked. If I didn't make this last performance, it's completely different performances. So no, there was no falling out. I respect Martin, I respect Roy, and all the staff, what they do. They gave me my debut against USA some years ago, and I hope they do well for my local team, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, well, listen, things can change very quickly in football, I guess. So listen. Well done again, 6 points for opening 2 games. It's nice, up and running, and the very best to look at club level. Geez, I mean, you guys playing Premier League football next year would be no bad thing. So, Enda, Dave McGoldrick, thanks a million. Cheers, fellas.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
There you are. Enda Stevens, Dave McGoldrick. 2 nice lads.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, good lads, as Declan Lynch would say.
Nick can spot the goodness in the lads.
But there's John Egan there as well too, and as has been mentioned, the Irish contingent there, and Scott Hogan is there on loan as well. So
all the more reason for Premier League football next year.
Really would like Sheffield United to go up, and bad result at the weekend to Bristol City, or actually I think they're doing well away to Middlesbrough tonight as well, which would be good for Callum O'Dowda. Yeah, good fellas.
So it's still 2-1 Wolves against Manchester United. They're into the 5th minute of added time. Wolves have just blasted one off the crossbar. Manchester United very much on the attack now, looking for an equaliser, but they are in the final seconds here. In the other game this evening, Watford 4, Fulham 1 is a full-time, and that has gone full-time at Molineux. So it's a win for Wolves, defeat for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Back in a sec.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
Down to business.
Your town, your main street comes to the sunny southeast when we broadcast from Green Acres in the heart of Wexford Town on Saturday, April 13th. We'll be giving Wexford Town a health check with a panel of experts and talking to all businesses there, big and small. We'll speak to Wexford hurling and now business legend Liam Griffin, and I'll go out to Rosslare Harbour to see what Brexit might mean out there. The event is free, but you do need a ticket, so simply go to newstalk.com/events to register.
Your town, your main street.
On Down to Business.
Live from Wexford Town, proudly sponsored by IE Domain Registry, Saturday 13th of April.
On News Talk.
This Irish success story is brought to you by Guaranteed Irish.
Did you know that Mincon in Shannon created the drill used to rescue 33 Chilean miners trapped underground for 69 days in 2010? Global Innovators Mincon, the driller's choice, also supports 106 jobs in the Midwest. Guaranteed Irish helps you support companies that are altogether better choices for our communities. So, look out for it. GuaranteedIrish.ie. Altogether better.
FBD Hotels and Resorts present our newest addition, the Heritage Hotel and Spa in Killinard. The perfect location for your next conference or event. Situated between Kildare Village, the Curragh and Portlaoise, it's easily accessible from just about everywhere. Less than an hour from Dublin, just off the M7 motorway at Junction 15. Make an inquiry today and learn about our exciting refurbishment. The Heritage Hotel and Spa, a venue reborn. Discover more at theheritage.com.
over 2 centuries, one family business in Dublin has earned a name for excellence in funeral care. Every day they continue to work hard to retain that good name. The name is Fannigans. Dubliners trust Fannigans to take care of them on their final journey with empathy, compassion and dignity. And Fannigans never forget whose journey it is. In over 200 years, some things don't change. Fannigans, when your thoughts are with them, ours are with you. The Fannigan Group includes Carnegie's, Kirwins and Nichols.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Well, 2-1 at Molyneux. Second time Wolves have beaten Manchester United in recent times. Nuno is down with the fans, giving it the old Jurgen Klopp. Wee.
Really enjoyed that. You got such enjoyment out of that you would definitely be one of the people that would respond to that in kind.
Dan, he throws his fist and then we cheer and it makes a hell of a noise.
Listen, you can't beat the magic.
It's a communal feeling. We're all together.
Beat the magic of that.
Hey, that's impressive.
Yeah,
they went 1-0 down.
They're pretty good, yeah. And actually, like Wolves, as I said, the record against good sides, I mean, the sides above them is pretty good. They just throw in the odd wobbler. They throw the odd away game this season when you think, Wolves should be fancy to do it. They don't. And actually, they're
a great watch.
Yeah, they're very good to watch. And if they'd been a bit more consistent at times, listen, probably not 13 points, not enough to be in the top 6, but they're definitely, 7th best. Comfortably, you would think.
Fulham relegated.
No loss.
They lost 4-1 this evening to Watford. The best thing about Fulham is their stadium at the moment.
Oh, Craven Cottage has got loads of character.
So let's segue from that to Spurs' new stadium, which is currently being called Tottenham Hotspur Stadium until they sell the naming rights. A number of journalists received tours of the stadium today, and one of them joins us now. Rob Daly, hello.
Hey, chaps.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Very well. 62,062 capacity. I saw Miguel Delaney was tweeting and he said, I'm getting a tour of the new Spurs Stadium. I have to say, instantly makes every other Premier League ground feel very dated. It is some setup, which intrigued us. There are some very nice stadiums in the Premier League and this one is making them all feel dated very suddenly. Tell us about it. Tell us about the tour.
Yeah, I mean, it is the most state-of-the-art football sporting arena I've ever been in, and it's really clever and thoughtful, and while it has this dual purpose NFL facility about it, there's an NFL pitch under the football pitch that can be used for 2 NFL games every season. It feels very purposed towards football, and the only reason I mention that is because I suppose some of the newer moves, you think of Man City into what is now the Etihad, that was obviously for the Commonwealth Games. You think about West Ham down at the London Stadium, which is obviously for the Olympics. This is a pure football arena, and the pitch hugs the stands, and it's actually really nice. There has to be a bit of, I think there's a UEFA regulation how far the pitch can be from the stands, but it's really tight and the stands are really high and it feels like a proper football arena.
Yeah, we were all watching Sky Sports News in the office this afternoon because they were doing live pieces from the stadium, and what was very striking at pitch level is how steep the stands are. Yeah. So there's no sense of if you're top level in the very back seat, you're actually going to be 50 metres from the ground. Even if, sometimes even if stands are very close to the pitch, the poor people sitting in the very top stand last seat are actually miles away, but these are steep. You're still pretty much involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Nou Camp level where you're sort of hanging, it feels like you're hanging over the top, but particularly the South Stand. The South Stand is that one big cop-like tier that is the largest single stand in the Premier League and holds alone, it was 17,500 that holds in one stand behind a goal. So that's going to be incredible. When you see the curvature at the top of that, when someone stands at the back of it, there's nothing behind them. So it's an extraordinary piece of architecture. It's brilliant. And I really like all the thoughtful details. Where the old centre spot was, there's a marker in the ground. The concourses are made from the concrete of White Hart Lane. So when you walk around the concourses, you can see this all sort of jumbled up yet polished concrete. That is the foundations of White Hart Lane. Old bricks from White Hart Lane were used for parts of the stadium. The old shop front has just been moved to inside the arena. It's really amazing.
It's a funny looking stadium from the outside, isn't it?
It's like a spaceship. I mean, what's weird is you go up the high road, because I was at the Legends game on Saturday, And you go up the high road, you got North London Council Estate, kebab shop, chippy, all the rest of it. And then suddenly this Independence Day style thing just appears in your eye line. And I actually can't believe they built it there. I don't know how you look at it, you just go, that's completely improbable without having to knock down half of Tottenham. I mean, they didn't have to do that. It's roughly on the site of the old White Hart Lane, which they started to build it while they were still in White Hart Lane. For people who don't know, they built the 2 stands that were going to be around the other side so that they could play Premier League football at White Hart Lane in 2016-17.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, has that helped in terms of the reaction to it? Because we were just speaking about earlier how some of the modern stadiums, like fans, don't necessarily warm to them because they can somehow lack a bit of character or whatever it might be. It moves them out of a traditional area to some industrial park. Or has that retention of the identity with the old ground and just simple location that you're referring to there, has that sort of helped? I mean, maybe there was no dissatisfaction at all, you can tell me, but does it make it easier?
100%. I mean, look, I used to cover West Ham. There was a couple of seasons where I covered West Ham, and I love that walk up to Upton Park and the smells and the sounds and the grotty pubs and the fried onions, all of that. And that obviously West Ham fans don't have that anymore. Their club is now out in basically an industrial park in Stratford, which is miles away from what the club actually is. West Ham, working class East End football club. Spurs is back where it originally was. And the fan reaction has been quite remarkable. There's obviously been the setbacks in the delays. The first game was supposed to be Liverpool at home back in September, so we're sort of 6 months on from that. And there was a bit of discontent. Fans were frustrated. They wanted to get in, but I don't think there's going to be any issues bedding in. Supporters can't believe they actually can't believe that's their stadium.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a football stadium, but the club have been smart and subtle with the NFL deal. The stadium is to NFL spec. That means the what they'd call like a jumbotron or whatever, the big screens and all that stuff have to be NFL spec. There's a separate set of NFL changing rooms. So in the stadium, there's actually 2. The Spurs changing room, which I went in, which is incredible, like a spa resort. And then there's NFL dressing rooms, which are separate because they obviously have thousands of players.
Yeah.
So it's remarkable. But it does feel like Spurs home. It doesn't feel like a place where they play and other stuff happens. It's Spurs Stadium.
No, it does seem like one of the more successful efforts, I have to say. A lot of people just instantly go, okay, yeah, that's cool, straight away. Instinctively it just seems right. Tell us more about the dressing rooms. I'm always a big fan of dressing rooms.
Yeah, so they have, it's a round setup, which has been very popular. I don't know if Arsene Wenger sort of was, I remember reading about what they did with the Emirates, and that he was a big thing about that, about everyone having that. So everyone's got their lockers behind and it's their individual one and it's a big circle. And then you go round and there's all these sort of spa baths and cooling things, and there's a stretching room, and there's a sort of indoor warm-up room. And I didn't go into the manager's office, but I saw a video of that going around the other day, and Pochettino's just got this beautiful suite where he can hang out with his coaches with screens where they can monitor stuff. I mean, it's sort of like in my head, because I think it was done in part by the same people who maybe did one of the NFL stadiums. I can't remember.
Right.
And it feels like that's where football's going, and that Spurs are the first to really have this.
Right, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's amazing. Because someone texted in and said, lads, even recently I've been thinking the Emirates feels a bit shabby, which, it's just
it's weird.
unthinkable.
It's sort of true. I mean, things can feel out of date and worn, and when the seats start to fade a little bit in colour, it feels like that. It's just so new. You'll go in and it's got a Beavertown brewery in it. I mean,
what's that about?
It says Beavertown's from Tottenham. It's from Tottenham. First one was in Tottenham. So it's all this like constant connection with the local community. You got the big gold cockerel over the top, not the original, of course, but a brand new one. It's just very cool. And have you seen the video of what happens to the pitch to make the NFL pitch come out?
No, I just read it takes 25 minutes.
Takes 25 minutes. So the football pitch is on top, and then that splits in 3. So in thirds like that, it disappears.
Right.
And then an NFL pitch, and they actually raise the dugouts and everything. for football, and then they sink down for NFL because it's a different type of touchline as well for NFL.
Yeah, of course.
Blows my mind.
That's a different level, yeah.
So is there? I mean, it sounds extraordinary. I mean, I suppose Joe mentioned the Emirates there. I mean, sometimes people, it's the view on TV. There's the slow return in the corporate sections after half time or whatever it might be. I mean, is there a gigantic corporate section here too on top of the the brilliant stand behind the goal you're referring to? Is this giving them more scope in that regard?
I don't think there's extensive corporate facilities. I mean, that the club are looking to make the money back on the investment. There's a lot at the top, sort of around the top of the seats, and then I'm trying to picture it in my mind, but from my commentary position, you can't see underneath, but no doubt there is. And they obviously have this tunnel club, which is where if the players are in the tunnel, there's I think effectively like a one-way mirror. I haven't seen how it works yet. Because
Man City have one, right?
If you don't have a tunnel club, you're nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Or the lower league clubs will have one soon. It'll just be covered in stud marks in mud.
So I'm seeing as well there's a 180-bedroom upscale hotel on site, and there's also Michelin standard, you'd expect that dining experiences. Adult season ticket prices range from £795 sterling to £2,200 sterling. Where does that put it in the range of Premier League clubs?
Yeah, I think on par with the top six. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know for definite. I couldn't swear to that, but Arsenal fans have been saying for some time that they were paying a lot for their season tickets. I couldn't tell you. I think they were frozen as well for next season.
Okay.
I think based on what happened this season with Wembley, I think they were frozen. But it really is, it's just very, very cool.
It does transform Spurs. Maybe transform is too strong a word, but it really copper fastens the sense that they're one of the elite clubs now in Europe. And it will be an attractive proposition to players when they see that stadium, and it's in London, which is crucial. Like if they can hang on to Pochettino and maybe, I don't know, sign a player, then they could really start to cement their status over the next couple of seasons.
I think, Pochettino spoke about it. He said, look, people think the only thing that draws a player to a club is, money. He didn't say that, but he said Champions League football. He said Champions League football. And he says, when people see this stadium, and I've been down to Hotspur Way a few times, the training ground, that is just unbelievable. Like the most unbelievable training facility, just the nicest, most upmarket training facility you've ever seen. Like, it's absolutely staggering. Like, it'd be difficult to compare it to the Etihad campus that City have. They're just sort of different modern. Yeah. But it's just, how could a player not look at that setup and think, I want to play here? I mean, because I think, Pochettino has seen it, Kane would have seen it, Dele Alli would have seen it, all the big names have seen it. God, I can't wait to play here. Yeah. I mean, there was a video that was doing the rounds on Sky, I don't know if you saw it, where Dele Alli hadn't seen it half built. Some of the players had gone in with the hard hats and the high-vis jackets and seen half stage. He had just saved it.
Right.
And he seemed to almost get choked up when he walked out and saw it for the first time because he just couldn't believe it. So it's cool. It's great. They're getting a Champions League game there next week against Manchester City as well, because that was part of the selling of the promotional campaign in the summer, that they were the only London club with Champions League football. So they've delivered on that, which I think they're very happy about. But I think it's going to be a massive draw for new players. And very quickly, the thing Pochettino said in his pre-match presser today for Palace was, hopefully this is the start of a new chapter and a change in mentality, which is always the thing he said. He's always said about a change in mentality at the football club, which he's done greatly.
Sure.
But there's another level to properly challenge for the Premier League title.
Listen, look forward to seeing a game there. Rob, you, I would suspect, will have nice facilities as well when you're doing commentary somehow. So
I'll be showing off on Twitter.
Yeah,
yeah.
What's a football journalist? They don't have pictures at stadiums constantly. So, thanks, Emil. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. Rob Daly there with the early word on Spurs' new stadium. That sounds good, doesn't it? Bloody hell.
Yeah, maybe. I like the stand behind the goals idea, seating 17,000 people.
Yellow wall feel to it.
That gives it a bit more than the old bowl effect.
Bit of character.
It might be as soulless as we flagged it earlier on.
Maybe the newest generation of stadiums will realise that they have to have a bit more character.
That could be it. This could be the name. This could be New Stadium 2.0.
The Emirates could suddenly feel like, that was when, that was just the very end of stadiums as we knew them. It was one of the nicer versions, but it was a line in the sand. So let's check in and get the full-time report. Clive Edwards at Molyneux.
It's finished Wolves 2, Manchester United 1, and it's turned out to be quite a miserable night for the visitors. They had a player, their captain, sent off early in the second half, and then the winning goal for Wolves is going to go down as a Chris Smalling own goal. United started well. McTominay gave them the lead in the 13th minute. Diego Jota got the equaliser, and then in the second half it all fell apart for United. It's finished Wolves 2, United 1.
Now let's check in. Watford against Fulham. Andrew Cheal.
Watford 4, Fulham 1. A comfortable and deserved win for Watford. A highly uncomfortable night for Fulham, who are relegated. The visitors had a decent spell at the back end of the first half, with Ryan Babel levelling Doucouré's early goal for Watford. After the break, though, Watford found a spark going forward, and goals from Hughes, Gray and Firmania took advantage of Fulham pushing forward in desperation. The visitors, though, can have no complaints. It finished Watford 4, Fulham 1.
Yeah, so Fulham relegated. Watford, good win for them. Short break.
Off the ball on News Talk.
At 67 family-owned expert electrical stores nationwide, for this launch we aren't cutting ribbons. Dyson's new V11 takes cord-free vacuums to another level. Twice the suction at the cleaning head, power optimization to deep clean any surface. Cut the cord. Ask your local expert about the Dyson V11 or visit expert.ie today.
The Audi Approved Plus used car sales event is now on. Discover your premium used Audi today with a 12-month warranty and exclusive 3.9% APR, available only at your local authorised Audi dealer. It doesn't have to be new to be everything you've dreamed of. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement and subject to lending criteria. Deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. Volkswagen Bank GmbH Branch Ireland is authorised by the Federal Financial Supervisory Authority in Germany and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Visit audi.ie/used cars.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Now, welcome back. So we are pretty much done for the evening. Well, I've pretty much done for the evening. Dan McDonnell alongside me. Any final thoughts on anything? No.
Not really, no. To be honest.
That is horrendous, Dan.
That was you just threw it at me there, Joe.
I don't know.
Manchester United were ropey at the weekend and ropey tonight. Definitely.
Oof. Well, there's a hot take right off the bat.
They won at the weekend, but they gave Watford absolutely shed loads of opportunity and shed loads of chances. So you should be worried.
So you're saying the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer regime has peaked?
Oh, is that the fear now?
A lot of people were saying, maybe things went too well.
Well, I mean, we did discuss this before.
Yeah.
You were getting emotional, thinking of Man U jerseys of yore.
I'm singing Ollie at the wheel all weekend. We're done. Sorry, went over time and everything, so this is a very short segment. It's really just to say thanks, Dan.
Cheers.
So we might, I know you're not in the studio tomorrow, but we might touch in and see what this Oireachtas committee throws up. OTBAM back tomorrow, 7:45 on all our social channels. And then tomorrow night, busy show as well. Camogie, captain Galway, won the league at the weekend. Sarah Dervin's going to join us. And then Wednesday night rugby as well. Tom Dunn on the way. Good luck.